Hi, my name is Mike North. I'm the president of Commodity Risk Management Group, and I've had the distinct pleasure of being here at the Pioneer VIP customer event. We spent a lot of time talking about markets, going on that roller coaster ride that we call 2019, and taking a look at the future. Been a whole lot of fun. You guys have a great season.
Southwest Wisconsin today. My wife and I have 4 beautiful daughters, and my wife translates that to say that I'm very spoiled. Probably true. You know, I always joke though that, you know, every time I bring that up, I usually get somebody that says, "Ooh, oh, I feel sorry for it," right? Or, you know, those weddings, those are expensive. and I had a guy track me down after a meeting one time, and he pulled me aside and said, "No, you don't got this. No, that's not correct at all. The weddings, they're cheap. Yeah. Wait until one of them comes to you and says, 'Daddy, I want a farm.' That's when it gets expensive, right? That's when it gets really expensive. So, you know, we still do farm. It's kind of that you can take the boy from the farm, but not the farm from the boy adage. I grew up on a dairy in southeast Wisconsin that my dad likes to call a 4-H project that got out of control. And over the years, that grew to be a pretty sizable operation. And, you know, we started in the 80s. 80s were not a lot of fun, right? Their first operating note was 16.1% interest. You know, not a good time to decide you're going to start farming, right? But we did, we made it through. And, you know, the thing about it is, as we go through the years like last year, you stop and you kind of reflect on some of those moments, right? You look back and say, you know what? This wasn't the only hard time that we've had. We've done this before. And we came out the backside and we were all the stronger for it. And we'll do it again if we have to. This is what we did. And, you know, as we talk about 2019, and we will, you know, it's one of those years, right? So we'll move on. So a little bit about my company. Some things have changed in my world. We do have a big presence in the grain space. But we also have a big presence in the dairy space as well. And that comes from a lot of my upbringing. We got on the dairy markets the moment they released them in '95, became a pretty sizable player in that market right from go, and we've just kept with it. It's a real joy of mine. But a couple of friends that I made along the way, also competitors at Rice Dairy, approached me about a year ago, and we started talking through some things. Before we knew it, we were talking about merging our companies, and then we did. October 1 of this last year. And so all the old names are still intact, right? Commodity Risk Management Group, Rice Dairy, the insurance agency, we each had one, but we're keeping theirs, and Vault Technologies. All those are out there, but we're going to be flying this banner as we go forward, Vault Ag. So you'll see a lot more of that, so you'll know who we are when you do. We're going to run the grain division basically through Commodity Risk Management Group, and it's still a big focus of ours. All the dairy efforts are going to be led out of the Rice Dairy Group. We'll still run our insurance agency under that label. And then we have a software company that basically provides software tools for our grain and dairy, grain farmers. So it's another big part of our business. But we're pretty excited about what the future looks like as we go forward. Markets obviously are going to be a little bit crazy, but we've got people around the country that guide people through it. We got 7 branch offices, as you see, around the country, largely through the Midwest here. Looking to plop somebody down right here in western Wisconsin is one of our next goals. So we'll see how that plays out, but certainly on our radar. There's one of those at your seat. If you don't have one, I'm sure you can find one close to you. We do a drawing every year, so if you're feeling lucky today, we throw them in a bucket, we pull one out for $1,000, and maybe it's your lucky day. But anyway, one other thing, if you're feeling comfortable asking a question in front of a group, that's fine. I get it, no problems. Just got it done. We'll get back to you. I promise we'll try to answer your question if you got one still lingering after we're done. So let's get into this, all right, shall we? Markets. That's what you came to listen to, right? First thing I'm going to tell you is this is not a green screen, and I am not a weatherman, okay? If I was, I would have not predicted 2019 the way it went down. What a crazy weather year. What I will say about weather is this, though. It'll continue to be a conversation in 2020, right? We look at our fields, right? And there may be what we would call less than ideal. Maybe they're a little wet. Maybe they didn't get the work done that you wanted. Maybe there's a little bit of, you know, rutting or hard pan or compaction, whatever is going on out there. Yeah, or maybe there's still corn standing. Yeah, there's all sorts of things at play right now. And weather will again pop its head up in 2020 and kind of have its way. We'll leave it at that, right? It's going to be a market force. You know that. We'll let it be what it is. I'm also not going to talk about policy and politics. I think we have heard enough out of Washington in the last 3 to 4 months. I don't care to hear another blasted thing coming out of this. So, you know, if you'll spare me, we won't talk politics just because it's a bunch of noise anyway. We are going to talk a lot about trade. We are going to talk supply and demand. We're going to spend some time looking at charts, and we'll just go forward from there. So let's dig into it. Our biggest opportunity this year, and I can safely say that really as we go forward, there's probably going to be numerous where international markets, trade, and all of that is going to be one of our big opportunities. As you look at global economic growth, you're going to see it's been fairly stable. This year, even in the midst of a trade war, the two biggest economies, we're still looking at fairly solid results. Year-over-year growth looks to be relatively stable. That's good. This is our greatest opportunity. I will tell you also, it is our greatest threat. And if you need proof, you need not look any further than the last few days, right? Go back to last Friday. We wake up and suddenly everything's coming unglued. What happened? Oh, Iran shot a bunch of missiles at us. What? And look at what it did to our markets. Look at what happened yesterday, right? Yesterday morning, stock market's down 500 points. Crude oil is up $3 a barrel. Diesel is up 7 cents. Grain markets are softer. Livestock is softer, right? President Trump called a press conference. Well, normally he handles most of his business with a tweet, right? I mean, we wake up and we hear another one, right? I mean, they're firing off left and right. He called a press conference on Iran. What was the world thinking? War, right? Or at least some sort of retaliation. And the moment that he announced that there wasn't going to be anything, to that extent, what happened in the markets? Stock market went from 500 lower to 200 higher. Diesel went from 7 cents higher to 7 cents lower. Crude oil did the same, $3 higher to $3 lower. Grain markets flipped and went higher. Livestock markets firm. Dairy markets firm. Everything got pushed. That's the most recent example. But we're going to have more of these. Geopolitical events, conflicts, noise is going to continue to crop up. It'll continue to be a factor that we play with. Here's the issue, though. You don't know when they're going to happen or where they're going to come from. They just happen, usually while you're sleeping. You wake up and you find out about them that next morning. We'll have more of those. I can't tell you even what they're going to be. Be ready for them now. This is going to be another volatile year, right? So, let's talk about the 700-pound gorilla in the room, right? This guy. China has been a part of almost every conversation that we've had in the market in the last at least 90 days. Are we going to get a deal? Oh, no, maybe we're not. Oh, yep, maybe we are going to get a deal. Oh, when are we going to get a deal? What's in the deal? We still don't know. Remember that healthcare bill we passed a number of years ago? We have to pass it so that we know what's in it, right? Well, with this kind of thing, we have to sign the deal to find out what's in it. That's where we sit today. We have no clue. We have no idea what the winners and losers are going to be by way of markets. We have no idea what amount of any of these products are going to be guaranteed or are going to be looked at the most. We have no concept. We have some guesses, but that's as far as it goes right now. This is something to watch. Next week, the 15th, is when they're supposed to sign it. We'll get a look. We'll see. I don't know. But that's something that you have to pay attention to. So let's for a minute talk about China. I want you to put yourself in the shoes of a Chinese negotiator. Coming to the table against the U.S. trying to hash out this thing. Have you heard of this guy? African swine fever, does that hit your radar? Okay, so I want you to, in your mind's eye, picture the United States pork industry. Okay? Think about the scope of it, right? Think of everything you know about United States pork. All the different farms, the types of farms, the size of the farms. Put it in your head. The Chinese hog industry is 5 times the size of the U.S. Or at least it was August of 2018. And then African swine fever kicked in. By January of 2019, they had lost 20% of their herd. Do the math. That's the equivalent of losing the entire U.S. pork industry. Gone. In a matter of months. Gone. By April of last year, they had lost 40% of their herd. Twice the size of the U.S. pork industry. Think about that. That's massive. Now, when I was growing up, my brother and I raised some pigs. Right? It was our little side business. We buy some feeders and finish them out. My dad always told me the secret to raising hogs is real simple, right? A piglet plus corn and soybean meal plus water equals bacon. Right? Pretty simple formula. So if 40% of their hog herd is gone, what does that say of their corn and soybean meal consumption? It's taking a hit, right? It's going to be lower. So if I'm a negotiator and I'm sitting at the table and I'm coming and have this conversation about what I'm supposed to buy, do you think I'm saying, oh, well, if you go back and look at the 5-year average of consumption, we need X amount of corn? No. X amount of soybean meal? No, it's lower. Naturally. My biggest animal consumer of it is missing 40% of its populace. That's going to be an issue that we have to work through. Right? And as you look at our exports of pork into China, it's been on a really nice run. Right? You go back to last spring, we kind of had that first big order step in the market. Everybody got excited. We saw 70-cent hogs become dollar hogs. Right? Almost overnight. It happened that fast. It spoke to the opportunity. And now we've been delivering on that. And we're seeing some pretty decent volume moving into China. On the beef side, it hasn't been as robust, but notice that we're having a pretty good finish to 2019. We'll get to the December numbers here in short order, but the reality is November was pretty strong. December looked to be almost as strong, if not stronger. So we're going to close out the year on a good trend with potentially good momentum in that space. Now, let's talk about the market that you probably care about more, and that is soybeans. Right? Soybeans. Not as pretty of a picture, right? If you look at that 18-19 marketing year, I will say as we started last year out, it was supposed to be a lot worse, right? This little red bar should have been closer to down here. So the good news story in this ugly chart is the fact that we actually sold them a lot more than we thought we were going to. But the better news is if you look at the sell-off in terms of the bushel shortfall from the year prior to 2018-19 marketing year, top to bottom, the overall sell-off was not as sizable as the difference in what we sold to China year over year. We found some other partners. We opened up some new markets. This was pretty good. This is a good thing to have in your pocket going forward in the future years, right? You're establishing some new relationships. We're hoping that we can carry those forward as we go into 2020, 2021, so forth. And you can see as we came through the marketing year, which starts September 1st, we've been slowly closing this gap to move towards the USDA's projection for export sales. This is a pretty good path. We're in a pretty good spot. All right? So as we look ahead at exports, we certainly don't know what fully to expect, but here's some good news. China is looking at exporting, or to be importing slightly more than they did in the previous year. So as we talk about the 2019-2020 marketing year, there's a slight uptick. And I would submit to you the reason for that is in December we got a report about the Chinese hog herd head counts went up for the first time in over a year. That's good news. Maybe we're starting to get around the other side of this disease. Bottom line is, if that can continue to rise or escalate, hog herd continues to grow, this is more consumption. But note that it's not what it was back here. All right? Why do we make such a fuss about this? Well, it's real simple. If you talk about soybeans, they go down one of two paths in this country. They either run through a crush plant, or they hop on a boat and they go for a ride someplace. That's it. That's what soybeans do in this country. Exports are about half of what we sell, right? It's a big part of this industry. We depend on it. So what happens in this China deal is going to be very, very important. Now, I will say the consolation prize is this, right? If we don't get immediate shipment of soybeans out of this country to China, or corn, or whatever you want to lay on it, you know, there's lots of different ways to export those products, right? You can do it in raw form. You can sell corn and soybeans to the Chinese. Or you can shove it through a pig or a steer or a chicken and send them the meat, right? There's lots of different ways around this. We're waiting to see what comes out of the deal. That's ultimately what we're waiting for in this signing of the Chinese Phase 1 trade deal. We want to know what the details are. And that will speak to how things, move along here. So, as we talk about, we'll go back here a couple slides. As we talk about soybeans, there's another thing I want you to take a close look at. Here we are in January, right? There's February. What happens to this line as we go forward from there? Kind of flattens out, right? This is the month of January, right? Is there something of consequence, something important that's happening in the world of soybeans right now? Yeah, South America. There's a bunch of guys running around with grease guns right now getting combines ready. Right? We're preparing for harvest. And the moment those beans start hitting the shores and moving to the ports, they own that market. And you aren't getting away from it. So even if there is soybeans in the agreement, understand shipment probably doesn't take place until we get into late summer, early fall. That's when we can start stepping back in. As we start harvesting soybeans and bringing them to market, we then get to take over the export space. And if I'm a Chinese negotiator, am I going to mess around with my #1 supplier of beans and beef products, that being South America, so that I can make my #2 supplier happy? Probably not, right? They're no dummies. They're going to monitor and guard those relationships. So as we talk about flow of beans, again, we can get at it a lot of different ways, but don't expect anything to happen immediately. Corn, very different discussion, right? This green wedge right here, that's the ethanol industry. It's grown a lot since they gave it its own line item back here in 2001. It's about a 5.5 billion bushel consumer. So is feed usage, right? Those are the two big usages in this country. Exports, you'll notice over time, have become a smaller percentage. This isn't going to be as big of a deal for corn, right? But as we talk about corn in terms of its pace, what you're going to notice is this. We have been continuing to move away from that projection. We are not meeting the sales curve, if you will, to hit USDA's number. There is a lot of reasons why USDA should lower their export projections in the current reports. Now, we get 4 big ones tomorrow, right? We get the supply and demand report, we get the crop production report, we get the quarterly grain stocks report, and we get the wheat seeding report, right? Those all come out tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Pack a big lunch. It's going to be a big day tomorrow. the reality is, you know, those will give us a lot of indication as to how we go forward. But I would tell you, it's not likely they're going to mess with this export number just yet. For the simple fact that we've got a Chinese deal coming. Unlike soybeans, as we come into February, this is where we're still actively coming into the market. South Americans' harvest of their safrinha crop from late last summer, early fall, that's pretty much behind them. Those supplies are diminishing. We start to get the jump back in, especially, you know, as you get further north here, as the river starts to open, that really opens some traffic for us. Bottom line is we'll start to see that pick up. If I'm USDA, I probably won't change that tomorrow. We'll see how that plays out. Let's talk. If you go back and you take a look at how that industry has performed, this black line, by the way, kind of represents their break even. If you take a look at where things are at right now, they're not making a lot of money. There's been a lot of red ink in the course of the last year and a half. We stuck our head above water here for a little bit, but then finished the year kind of where we were leading up to the fall, right? Not very solid performance. So we can't look at what's roughly our largest consumer of corn and say, oh yeah, I expect that you guys are going to run at 100% capacity. You're probably building more plants. You're going to aggressively bid for corn. No, actually quite the opposite, right? Plant capacities have not been fully utilized. We've not been running all the corn through there that we can. Ethanol is still paying for corn. They're still important to us. But they can't keep going on like this forever, right? They can do it for a while. This has been a profitable industry. But they can't go on like this forever. That's something we're going to have to watch closely as we go forward. Keep your eye on this. As we talk about the livestock space and look forward in hogs, right now there's some profitability predicted as we go into 2020. Things are kind of looking good there. Cattle, kind of same thing. Feedlot returns look pretty good. Margins are expected to be positive. That's really a big bright spot as we talk about corn consumption in this country. All right, and we're going to hold to that because it's still one of our biggest uses for corn. So now let's take a look at the supply side. All right, let's go back to where this started last year. Planting. Boy, wasn't that a treat, right? Yeah. I had a client the other day tell me, he says, oh, this harvest, yeah, it's lingering on 3 months, but my hired hand reminded me that if we're going to plant for 3 months, we might as well harvest for 3 months. I mean, shoot, just keep it balanced, right? We came into that first week of May and everybody was still pretty chill. This will be fine. I mean, look back. There's weeks where we planted 30 to 40% of the corn crop in a week. We can catch up, no big deal. By the time we got to mid-May, that story changed. Those feelings of confidence diminished quite a bit, right? And suddenly everybody realized that we had a problem on our hands. And if you went forward from there, you'll notice we just kind of were 3 weeks late from that point forward. And that's how we finished. And as you look at crop conditions reports, and we watch these every week, right? And we watch planting peaks, and we look at emergence, and soaking, and dowing, and decking, maturity, harvest, right? We get through all of those things. We watch them every week. And you can sum them all up with one word, right? Late. Now, I was down in Central Illinois last night. The guy that led the meeting stood up and he said, we're the victors. We're the champions. We're number one. I'm like, we had more rain in this area than any part of the state of Illinois. We had more pre-wet plant acres than any part of the state of Illinois. I'm thinking, wow. You had a battle, my friend. That was rough. And then he went on to say, he said, shoot, you know, we had to plant corn in June. I stood up later. I said, I'm from Wisconsin. We plant corn in June every year. This year was July. Yeah, it's up in July, right? I mean, it was a late year for everybody. But I can tell you in my conversations with some of my more southern growers, their expression, you know, when you told them they had to plant corn in June, was kind of like this guy. We got a situation here. This is going to be a problem, right? That's kind of how you can sum up their emotional experience in that moment, right? As we talk about the end game, though, this is where we landed. We had another pretty normal year. Would you have ever described 2019 in that way? Not a chance. But that's how we land. I mean, think about this. So I got in this business in 1995, right back here. How many sub-trend line yields have we had in that time? A 1, a 2, a 3. Like that little owl on the Tootsie Pop commercial, right? Well, I guess 4 now, right? We got 4 over here. We'll have to find a new character. But the reality is we don't get it very often. And it never fails. In the course of running around all winter and doing all these different meetings, I'll have a guy that pulls me aside and says, oh, yeah, shoot, we had all these nice years here. We had, 3 good years. That could never happen again. It's going to be terrible this next year. Well, you know what? He was right this year. It was lousy. But I want you to think about this. 2019, I would describe it as the year where if it could go wrong, it did go wrong, right? The growing experience was not too fun this year. Do you realize that in the most terrible growing year we've had, we were only 10 bushels off of last year's record crop? Soak on that for a minute. I mean,
so what state or states did decently well outside of like the Midwest? Someone had to carry the weight, or was it all passed down? Because like around this area, there was not much weight. It's pretty bad.
Well, the weighted average carries to the Midwest, right? So good results in Illinois, Iowa go a long way to overcome any woes of what we'll call fringe Corn Belt states. But we saw decent yields as we looked at the Delta, decent in the South. We had what I'll call decent in the East, even despite some of their planting experience. Ohio felt a little bit of pain. They planted late. They were a big catch-up state by way of planting. We're still seeing some issues. Wisconsin, Michigan, North Dakota, but again, weighted average, right? And that's how we arrive at this number, is weighted average. So that's what carries it. And here's the thing we have to recognize from that. Even if we had a bad experience in our field and yields were lousy, the USDA publishes a national yield average, and that's what the market follows. We look at the whole picture, not all the pieces to the puzzle individually. I mean, you have to some degree, but the whole picture means more than the piece.
That being said, though, locally we saw a lot of co-ops offering a lot of additional money because they weren't getting the crop. So what does that mean for us in the next year? Because locally these co-ops aren't sitting on piles of corn to feed the cows like they have been in the past. So what does that mean for us locally?
Locally, that means basis is largely expected to stay tight for you. The shortage of good quality corn will continue to keep a basis, a stronger than normal basis in your market. That can still ebb and flow, right? And we're going to talk more about that in a minute. So hold on to that, to the fullest answer of that question. But as we talk about yield, here's the thing that you have to remember. As we look at a particular season, you should plan on normal. You should plan on trend line yields, right? I mean, shoot, think about this. You guys are at a seed meeting. Somewhere around here is probably a seed book with some hybrid numbers in it. When you thumb through that, are you going, oh my goodness, which one's going to give me the lowest yield? Can I find it on page 2, right? I mean, what? No. Our game plan every year is to do better than the year before. What does that say? We got what we asked for. As a whole, generally speaking, from year to year, we do better than we did the year before. We had a hiccup this year. It happened. But notice, even if we come out tomorrow in the report and the average guess is right, which is only 0.8 of a bushel less than last month's number of 167, we stand within 10 bushels of last year's record yield. And, here's the kicker. We're only slightly below the trend line. Recognize that there's equally a chance of performing better than trend line as there is below trend line. It happens. Trend line is there for a reason. It's why we follow it as close as we do. I mean, how many trends can you look at that are that solid? It is what it is. So all this to say, as you go about your marketing efforts in 2020, recognize that if there's some sort of a scare in the market and it's saying, oh my goodness, there's a problem, capitalize on it. It typically doesn't stick around. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Argentine corn production last year, dang near a record. Brazil's was a record. Lots of corn out there, right? But usage was still greater than production 2 years in a row. Last time we had this occurrence was back here in 2003. So what did we do about this? We just drew down our supplies, which were very substantial. As you can plainly see, we're not running out of corn anytime quick. Around the globe, there's a pretty good cushion here. As you look at the United States, yes, we did the same. We've trimmed our stocks use back here to 2015, basically on about the same plane. So when we talk prices, here's where we're at, right? So we start this takes us back here to 2014-15, as we were going through that 2014 crop year and into the 2015 crop year, back when we had similar stocks use. Check out what's going on here, right? We've got a little bit of a range forming. That's normal. This represents basically that October to April time span, and you're going to notice most of them are pretty boring. It's what we call the winter doldrums. We trade sideways, 20 to 30 cents. Very rarely do we spend a lot of time going down. Very rarely do we spend a lot of time going up. Most of it's just back and forth, back and forth. Boring, as my kids would say. Right? The reality is, this is the market we're in right now. Notice what part of the range we're in at the moment. All right, 2019, let's go through a little bit of a run and review of the prices. By the way, these green and red bars are USDA report dates. Just to give you a heads up. So we came through the spring, market was tapering off, we're going to get the crop planted, big acres, big yield, big ending stock, big inventories. Oh my goodness, this is lousy. We're making new lows, middle of May, right? Planting intentions, or excuse me, planting progress. Sour. Market takes off. This is getting exciting, man. We start crossing through this line. Guys are like really starting to smile. We keep moving higher. We're making new highs. Oh my goodness, this is better than Six Flags. Holy cow. The best way to describe it was euphoria. Everybody's trying to get in on the action, right? We're going up. $5 corn, right? I heard a lot of sixes last year too. Either way, that's pretty exciting stuff. And you get guys calling up. Oh my goodness, I am so glad that I didn't sell anything. This is fantastic. Fast forward, we come through the big acreage report. What do you mean we have all those acres? That can't be. No way. They told me we were going to lose 10 to 15 million. That can't possibly be true. Oh my goodness. Oh, we got a little bit of summer weather. See, I was right. I knew this thing was going. This thing is taking off. We run into that July report. Oh my goodness. We're just going to, watch USDA slash some more. They did not do that. Oh, we got a rain forecast. Boom. Here we go. By the time we came through that August report, which was supposed to fix this thing, right? This was the update to the acreage report. You guys remember that day? We opened up, the market was just kind of waiting. When that thing came out, people started getting desperate. By the end of the day, it was downright panic. We were taking on all sorts of chart support. This thing was making new lows from back when we started in May. This thing was getting ugly. The next day, we found ourselves even lower yet, and there was some conversation taking place at home. Oh, get back up there. I'll do it up and stuff. And we kept going lower. Guys were busting out of positions. I mean, by the time we got to the bottom here, it was downright depressing. Then remember, September report, USDA cut some yield. Remember that? Oh, they're finally admitting it, right? Oh my goodness. How did they get this thing so wrong in the first place? And then the market started to take off, and we were moving back higher. Guys were getting kind of excited again. Then we came back to that October report. What did they do? They added the yield back on. took it away and they added it back on, right? Ah. Well, that kind of put a little bit of a tire, or a little bit of a nail in the tire. And we repeat the cycle. I bring this up because in 2019, I saw more motion come into the market than I have ever seen in my entire career. More than the 2012 drought. More than the 95, 96 run to $5 car. I have never seen anything like it. And the thing about this roller coaster, this emotional roller coaster, there are no seatbelts on this sucker. There is no safety bar. And a lot of guys got thrown. I'm just going to tell you. They got thrown hard. So we get to August, we deal with a lot of buyers around the country. And we had some privy to information. Reality is, what do you think in terms of percentage of the total crop? What do you think was sold by the time we get to August? 10%. I like your answer. You can go a little higher. 18%. We had the very best opportunity to market grain that we've seen since 2014, and we had one of the worst marketing performances as a nation that we've had in my entire career. What happened? Emotion.
You forgot about all the tweets.
Oh yeah, tweets.
China. So you stayed another half hour, but it does play in your brain.
Oh, it does for sure. Yes, sir.
How much of that, euphoria, were you telling customers to do something and they ignored it?
Oh, there was a lot of that.
So you were saying
we had guys that were selling grain that the moment they sold it, they were panicking because we had them sell corn, and then they wanted to get out, or they needed to buy calls, or someone to buy futures. I mean, it was the emotional spectrum was wide. It was crazy. Yeah, it was nuts. But that was the experience. So, as we go through this, the thing I ask is this, right? If 2020 ends up being like 2019, are you ready for the ride? Are you emotionally prepared to deal with this? Start now if you're not. I mean, this is real, right? This affects the bottom line as much as, yield. So as we talk about 2020, we're going to try to take all this stuff and make some sense of it, right? We call that a price. Reality is, as we look at 2020, my first question to you is, what's your plan? What's your plan? What's your plan? I don't care what you read. I don't care what guys have pitched you. What are you personally going to do about it? I'm going to give you a quick glance over how we start our year, what we do. It starts with cost of production, basically right here. This is where we start every year. Why? I know you've been through this. I know you've heard this before. And I hate to belabor the issue, but from my side of the table, I see a remarkable difference in the success in marketing of guys who know their cost of production. I see an amazing difference between them and guys who have no clue. Why? It's real simple. When the market goes up, if you don't know what it costs for you to produce a bushel of grain, how are you going to be able to get yourself over the emotional hurdle to actually pull the trigger to sell it? You have no idea what it means to your bottom line. Guys who know their cost of production can be bold, and they often are. Know that number, right? We use this system right here. Once we have that nailed down, we start talking about targets. How strong is this year going to be? I have no idea. Just a couple guys, strong men, six-pack abs, right? Here's where we're standing, though. We got $4 corn on the table. Think back. Last 5 years, exception of this year, how many times have you had the chance to sell $4.50 corn? 450?
No, 450. I think she was full.
Oh, $4.50 corn. How many times? Yeah, 2014, you got a shot at it. You haven't seen that. Yeah, this year. Here's the second question. How many times have you had the opportunity to sell $3.50 corn in the last 5 years? Every year. Every year. right? It's at $4 today. What do you do about that? I would tell you very simply, if I'm you, I'm buying a put. I get a $4 put, it costs me a quarter today. I got a line around the same. Whatever I'm not willing to sell today, I got covered at $4. I'd be putting sales targets on here. Tomorrow's a big report, right? That thing may have some volatility in it. I don't know. That's kind of the history, though, if you go back and remember that slide I showed you. Right? There's volatility in these things. Maybe we get a spike tomorrow. Maybe we don't. I don't know. But bottom line is, if we get back towards 410, I'm selling some more corn. We already got some sold. We'll sell more. Think about this. If you could go back the last 5 years and trade out all the sales you've made for sales at 410 on all the bushels, would you do it? For most guys, the answer to that question is yes, absolutely. So what would hurt you to sell it a little bit right here? Put a target up there. Sell a low. Sell 10,000. I don't know, whatever. Sell some. This is a good place to get started. Get going on this stuff, right? Basis. Let me tell you this, real simple. Rarely is it a good time to set your price and basis at the same time. Let's jump right to the picture so you can see what I'm talking about. Reality is this, prices have a way of changing, don't they? How many times have you watched the price go up and you get all excited and you want to sell something? And then you pick up the phone, you get the buyer on the other end, and you find out that his price is lower than it was the day before, even though the board was up. Or maybe it was only up half as much as the board. You seen that phenomenon before? Basis and price move often in different directions. So don't set them at the same time. Treat them independently. There's money to be made in that. Carrie, let's talk about that. What is it for starters? Well, real simple. It's what the market pays you to store corn from harvest to spring or out into summer. And that changes, right? As you look at the difference from East to March, East to May, East to July, right? The difference in those spreads changes as you go through the year. And oftentimes as you approach fall, the spreads widen. It's when they want to pay you for storage. So when you get that call in the summer and the guy on the other end says, hey, I'll buy some of that corn for summer of the following year, I can get you that price you're looking for. Oftentimes it's not a good deal because you often gave away your storage. And they'll take your free space all day long if you want to give it to them. Sell it for fall, roll it ahead. Simple mechanics. Here's how this plays out. We saw prices fall out in the spring. They rallied up. Look at what carries did. As the price went up, carries were shredded. As the price came back down, carries rebounded. And then we followed suit again as we went into spring, or as we went into harvest, excuse me. So be mindful of how these mechanics work and use them to your advantage. So going into 2020, right, we talked about a lot of market stuff. Here's where I want you to get your head set, right? How do you tackle these things? If you don't have help, get something, right? We offer a program. If you've got somebody you really trust, go to them. But bottom line is, you get some help if you don't have it. Get off this roller coaster, right? Get off all this stuff. All right. Some time for questions. Yes, sir.
I delivered by 20% my own price to corn. Ethanol plant.
Yep.
March, right, was delivered now and locked in a -5 basis.
Okay.
Working the futures basis differently.
Yep.
Like Chicago. Think you guys should start to let go some of that now, or?
Yeah, if you've got basis locked in at 500 and we just had this 20-some% rally, I wouldn't be afraid to pull the pin on some of that. Yep, for sure.
Same thing for soybeans.
Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking if you look in South America drop coming in, you probably should just get rid of all your beans and just be done with it now.
You know, I wouldn't be afraid of moving beans right now, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, if we don't get the Chinese deal, price could get ugly really fast.
I mean, it's been $1, all of 80, 90 cents since December, so.
Yep. Yeah, there's been good money to make in beans. I wouldn't be afraid of selling. You know, the old adage that was told to me right at the start of my career, seasoned guy came to me and says, when everybody wants to buy, sell it. Because there will be that day when everybody wants to sell and there are no buyers. That happens really fast. So when you see strong basis, that's an opportunity to step forward and get sales. Back to your question. If they're throwing you big basis opportunities, even out in the spring, summer, don't be embarrassed or ashamed to sell it. Good basis is good. Sell it. You can always manage price on the backside. Call options are cheap. Very cheap. And that's the thing you have to also weigh up, right? Especially if this is in somebody else's bin. Do I want to keep paying storage so that I can capitalize on good basis? Probably I'm better off to sell it and then buy a call and not pay on the storage fee, right? But if it's at home, even still, you got to look at it the same way. Where's the opportunity? Yes, sir.
How much weight do you put into the algorithms? Or do you use more of a common sense approach?
Well, I personally don't trade with algos, but there are a lot of people that do, and you can't overlook the fact that those exist in our market. And the reality is we have a report tomorrow, and there are already algorithms in play to try to trade that market in the seconds that follow its release. Analyzing all of that data the moment it hits, and trying to make a trade off of that. It's why you see big volatility on report days. It also drives some of that fund money that we talk about in the market. It's used. It's there. It's present.
I'm not referring to algorithms like yourself.
Most people that have algorithms don't freely give their advice. Right? Even under a subscription, they rarely give you their advice. Algorithms are largely used to trade. Okay. Right? If you spend all the time and money to develop an algorithm, you're trading it, not just using it for research.
Do you think with volatility in the market, it's worth doing short-term trading call options versus buying a call option and letting it get close to expiration date on it?
That really depends on your strategy, right? If all I'm doing is simply buying a call option, and my goal is to only, work my way through the next several months, short term is a great play because you save on the time cost. But if I'm spreading options, remember, selling time to buy time can bring my costs into alignment with anything I do short term. So spreads can change that conversation pretty quick. Across different strategies, there's different answers to the question. But I would say as you're going about it, you really have to kind of gauge what your end game is first before you make a decision what your strategy is. These are wonderful questions.
What's your opinion on selling options?
I'm not afraid of it. There's a place for it. I mean, stop and think about it. Every market has a buyer and seller. Every market. So for someone to step in and sell options, I'm not opposed to it. But before you do that, understand what you just did, right? There's margin attached to it. It's not just this free run, right? If the market moves against you, you can be caught, right? The standard by measuring an option is that if you buy an option, you're limited in exposure to what you spend, right? But your gains are essentially unlimited, so to speak, quote unquote. But if you sell an option, the most you'll ever gain is the premium you got. And your risk is quote unquote unlimited, depending on what you're doing. So you have to understand what you're doing before you pull the trigger on something like that. I can get guys that will call me up out of the blue and say, I read about this strategy. Yeah, but you don't understand it. And if you don't, you shouldn't be pulling the trigger, right? So not opposed, good tool to use, but know what you're using before you use it. Okay.
Buying the puts and then selling. Okay, so you say 25 cents to buy a put, and then sell an option against it. Then that units remains only 25 cents.
Are we talking about selling put against it or selling call against it?
Well,
Because that changes everything I'm about to answer.
I like to sell calls.
Okay.
Because selling puts is too risky. Because then as a farmer, I don't want it to go lower. And then you're limiting how low that option.
But it depends on how you're using that strategy, right? I've got guys that will, you know, benchmark their yield, maybe they're 100% irrigated. They buy crop insurance. They'll buy put spreads against their crop insurance, and as the market drops the put they sold, the crop insurance kicks in and they're fine. How you use these things is imperative, right? So strategy will follow how you're managing all of this risk, right? So if you sell a call against a put buy, it's a fair strategy. It's a good strategy, but it limits your top side, right? Last year, we saw a lot of guys that sold calls that, in the midst of that, decided they wanted out of them. So you have to be prepared, if you're going to use a strategy like that, to answer to a strategy like that, because it has other elements to it, right?
So that's we're using this for risk management, we add more risk to my operation.
Well, it doesn't add risk to your operation. It takes away opportunity from your operation. Right? Stop and think about that. If you sold a 470 call and the market runs through 470, it's probably not the worst thing that happened to your farm. Right? It didn't add risk, but you're not getting 471 for it. You're not getting $5 for it if it goes in. You're capped at 470. So you have to be prepared for those elements, and you have to accept them on the front end. And here's the other piece. You have to use that strategy at every bushel that you own. Manage it in a portfolio of strategies. Lots of angles to take as you look at these things, but there's no one size fits all. Great questions. I think I'm standing between you and the reception hall. And so if you have more questions, I'll be sticking around for a little bit. Feel free again to jot them down here. If you want our weekly update, you're welcome.